Hi mate, how's it going? Mate, I go around recording conversations I have with anglers about life, mental health and fishing. Would you be open to having a chat?
Yeah,
Sure?
why not?
Fantastic. You keep fishing and I'll record from over here.
Okay, perfect.
How is your mental health right now? Or how are you really?
How am I? I'd say at the moment I'm at a bit of a low point in my life. I've sort of lived my whole life on the theory that I thought that happiness was a choice without actually realizing that not everyone can choose when to be happy, and how they can be happy. Because my whole life I've been into sports, and that was sort of what I was most passionate about, and fishing. And it was only recently, since I started studying, I realised that my mind wasn't actually 100%. It was actually broken. And I, like with the gym, you train and you break the muscle and then you repair it. I went through that process with my body, and I just keep getting injured. And I sort of gave up on that part of my life I gave up trying to be fit, because I just keep getting injured, and I took that as a sign that maybe I should go on to things that involved mental work rather than physical. So that was when I decided to go and study at uni, and pursue my dreams, because my whole life sort of always put people on the front foot and put my dreams on the back foot. And then that's when I realized, like, I'm sort of living in the shadows of other people rather than living my own life. And that was after some trauma that I went through when I was young, and my whole life I didn't realize that it was affecting me, because I'm always happy and cheerful and positive, and it was when I actually broke my body. When I broke my body, that's when I realized that my mind wasn't all right.
You said you broke your body. Do you think you were doing that as a way of avoiding some of the mental stuff?
Yeah, I think I took it as a way, as if my body is at its peak performance, that eventually my mind would come right. And I had the fact that my mind was actually struggling. Now I didn't know it was struggling, and it took me 8 years to actually realise that my mind was struggling, because my whole life I've had a sort of an addictive personality where if I do something, if I get into something, I put my whole life into that one thing. And yeah, I did that with the gym, and then at the same time I was doing building, but in the back of my mind was always the fact that I wasn't working on myself. I was sort of just taking the easy way out instead of really working on my dreams. And my dream was always to be an architect, and that's why I did building for a start. But I got stuck in a small town, and just really struggled to get out. Just in a way that every day it was just hard to get out of bed, and it still is. But at least I know that finally I'm actually doing something about all my health rather than neglecting what matters.
Wow. What was the turning point to make you go and chase your dreams of being an architect?
What really, it was sort of a switch just flicked in my head after four years of building. And it wasn't just me though, it was, I met a lovely lady, and I sort of sat down with her one day, and I kind of said it as a joke for a start, and I was like, well, I'm sick of the life I'm living. It's not the life I want to live. How about we go somewhere else so I can pursue my dreams? And that really meant a lot, the fact that she was in favour to go and start a new life. And the funny thing is, we moved to Wellington and we got there and we didn't even have an apartment, and she was just staying at Airbnbs, but we didn't know when we were going to have an apartment, so she was just booking them 2 days at a time, moving around, and that really just sealed the deal that sometimes you just need that little extra push, or someone special, and that my whole life I was trying to fight this battle inside my head by myself, but I finally found someone that's willing to help fight it with me.
Wow.
And yeah, that's just something special.
Sounds as though she certainly helped you and supported and motivated you to go and live out the dream that you are living, and was supportive regardless of what happened.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. Like, I went through a couple bad relationships, and I sort of thought, like, oh, is this it? Like, do I not get to be happy and have a girl that I thought I liked? And then when I met her, I was like, damn, like, I can actually do things I enjoy, and I can do them with her. And the funny thing is, when I was going through the rough patch of neglecting my mind, I stopped fishing. And just because of the situation in the relationship and altogether, and I stopped fishing for about 5 years. And then my partner surprised me, and she was like, pack your rods, we're going to Twizel on a fishing trip. You're going to start fishing again.
Oh, nice.
And I couldn't believe it. That was an amazing trip, and I just realised how special fishing is, and like, it's definitely a way to, I suppose, keep sane in times of madness in my life. And it wasn't just till recently. I was actually just started seeing a counsellor, and opening up with him, I found it hard to keep together, and I almost, like, it was hard to keep back the tears because, well, I've never opened up to anyone in my life except for that moment. And luckily there was a photo of a nice river in the backcountry on the wall, because if I didn't have that to look at, I don't even think I'd be able to talk. I suppose it's hard because I've still got problems, and I suppose we all have problems of our own. And I'm always lacking confidence, and just that's something I've had to deal with my whole life, is a lack of confidence. And I suppose I find it hard sometimes because just putting into words how much I appreciate the life she helps, and I suppose the journey we go through together. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure she knows. Sometimes it's quite difficult for men to talk about their feelings and emotions, but I'm fairly certain that without having to tell her those exact words, she knows exactly how you feel. And I'm really happy for you that you've got that now, because as you mentioned before, some poor relationships in the past, and you were doubting whether or not you were to be happy, and now you are. So
Yeah.
fantastic.
And I think that's one thing I learned through it, is as it's sort of expected as guys, like, to be strong and almost be an emotionless figure, to carry the weight of other people on our back. But no, I realised through time that's not what makes us strong. What makes us strong is actually talking to people about it, and opening up.
Yep. Amen.
Because, well, I think everyone deserves to know how you really are feeling. Because if you're sort of a blank canvas with no emotions, but you, on the inside and on the outside, you seem all right, well, how are people actually going to help you in the first place?
Exactly right. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree any more with you, 100%. And I picked up there, you mentioned that you started going to a counsellor. Now, on the topic of men struggling to talk, people in general, but especially men struggling to go and seek help or talk up, what made you go and see one? If this was the first time you'd opened up, what was the motivation, or what was the cause, what was the drive behind making that decision?
The drive behind finally opening up was when I was building. That wasn't my dream. And that was, rather than opening up and saying, look, I'm not all right, I walked away from it, because it was easier to, I didn't get qualified or anything, and that still haunts me. But yeah, I was able to walk away from it because that's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And then, through right now, as I'm studying, I was really struggling with my mind, and a lot of all-nighters, sort of studying for 20 hours a day. It really just took a toll, and well, my mind was screaming for help, but I wasn't listening. And it got to the point where it's just the physical and the mental stress was just too much, and I sort of just broke down. And I sat down at my desk, ready to study, and I sat there for 10 hours and didn't do anything. I couldn't get through the mental blockage of actually having enough confidence to do my work, because my mind had sort of just gone into a state of being frozen rather than fight or flight. And not actually, it's hard because no one understands your brain. We're all unique in our own ways, and I wasn't talking to my friends about it because, well, I just didn't think they'd understand. So I suppose, went on from that, and
Yeah.
I realised well, I've got to talk to someone because I'm trying to follow my dream here. I can't just walk away like I did before. Like, something has to change.
We on
a snag.
Oh, bugger. I know for myself, when I've had to go and seek help, and that was really difficult, it just got to a point where it was, I'm at rock bottom.
Yeah.
And really, when you're at rock bottom, there aren't many options left. And I just got to a point where it's like, I had enough of this shit. Like, I need help. I know I can live a better life than this.
Yeah.
And I need to go and get help. I guess it's...
Yeah. Yeah, you sort of... You're going through the motions every day of, well, getting up, having a coffee and studying, and you sort of... When you're not all right in the head, you sort of kind of wonder yourself, like, what is this? Like, what am I doing? Like, what is the point? Am I actually going to get what I dream of out of this? And that's where, like, the university is quite harsh. Like, they think that everyone learns the same. And I've realised that no, like, a lot of people, they'll learn something straight away, and I'll have to re-watch it and do it 5 times before I actually pick it up. And then people kind of, sometimes I still won't understand it, and I'll go back and they're like, oh, are you stupid? Like, why don't you know what you're doing? And that, on top of the mental complications, that sort of pushed me further back, and to the point where I even stopped leaving my room. And there, I think I went for a month straight where I didn't even leave my room. I just sat there studying. Luckily, we had a view of the Bush Hills in Wellington, because otherwise I think I would have fully lost the plot. And that was... I'm slowly getting better with help from others to actually try trust myself again. But that's definitely something that fishing helps with, because you're constantly trying new things to get a result, and building your confidence as you develop. It's just a...
Well, you mentioned when you went to the counsellor's consult room, your partner taking you out fishing, and viewing the hills in your room while you were studying away. Fishing outdoors seems as though it's got quite a big, or has a large impact on your mental well-being.
Oh, definitely. I suppose it's somewhere I can go where I actually don't feel judged. Like, it's a place where we're all equal. We're all here trying to enjoy the outdoors, and that's why I'm here right now. I just finished a big assignment, and I realised, like, theoretically I shouldn't be here because of the strain it's going to put on me when I get back. But I was entering a real low point again, and I told my partner, I was like, no, I'm not letting it get the better of me this time. I'm going to go on to Taupo, and I need to get away from reality just for a couple of days and refresh my mind and fill my cup, as you'd say.
So you mentioned before, bro, some of the difficulties that you've had mentally in the past. We touched on, I'd say, if I were to group them, or extract some key words from there, I'd say, like, people pleasing was probably one thing I pulled out of there, and then maybe like depression.
I wouldn't say depression, because
Just stuck?
I'm not sad.
Yeah.
I'm just confused, and I'm going through this big process of metamorphosis, trying to find myself again through this process.
Nice.
Because I've been around people my whole life that have actually gone through depression. My dad, he was going through hard times, and he kind of talked to me about it, and it was sort of tough learning about how my own dad wasn't strong in life. That actually took a toll on me mentally as well, realizing that he's struggling, and he wasn't actually, like, he said he was doing something about it, but yeah, he wasn't really trying hard enough. And but there was something I promised myself, that I'd never become depressed, because, well, I don't want anyone else to experience sort of not knowing how to help that person in their extreme low point. Hence why I'm getting help myself. But yeah, and coming back to your original question, so I don't think it's a point of depression that I have at the moment. It's sort of an extreme lack of confidence that has just kept growing and growing, and sort of gotten to the point where, like, that combining with being a people pleaser, I just struggle to even do everyday tasks, like constantly doubting myself. That's sort of what I'm working on at the moment, and what I will hopefully get better with, and that's what fishing's helping with at the moment.
Nice, man. Yeah, I think there are so many people out there, as you say, people pleasing. I guess a large aspect of that comes down to our overvaluing of another person's opinion.
Yeah.
And how much we let that dictate our behaviors, our thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
On ourselves and of ourselves.
Yeah, it's very true. Like I started trying to post on social media as a way to develop, not just keep a logbook of sort of just fishing trips that I can look back on while I'm studying, but it's also a way of getting out of my comfort zone. And that, I think that's one thing that I've benefited through social media, is there's always someone there with similar interests that is happy to talk to you. And like the amount of people that I've met through fishing and social media that are just so supportive. Like it's honestly, it's a great community. And yeah, I'd definitely be struggling a lot more than I am without fishing and the people that are around fishing.
What's an experience you've had in your life that shaped you into the person you are today?
I don't like to admit it, but for the bad, what impacted me the most was my first relationships. Sort of just because I was young, and yeah, through those I went through a lot of trauma, and sort of, I suppose, built a sort of callus in my mind so that I could cope. And yeah, it was a lot of trauma I went through for sort of 3 to 4 years, where just very, very controlling, and where I wasn't able to sort of do what I wanted in life, and I wasn't able to follow my dreams, because I'm a big believer of never giving up hope. But that, with being a people pleaser, that's sort of what kind of caught me off guard, and I sort of learned from those bad times that, like, I think about them too often, but I suppose it's just a reminder that your times can always be worse, and you should definitely make the most of every moment, especially out here in the wilderness, where there's no room for judgment. There's only room for development of, well, right now, development of my craft and fly fishing, but in general, development of my brain and my ability to cope with what I'm going to do when I go home and I'm not able to fish. And that's why I take so many photos, because I don't want to just live these. It's nice to live in the moment, but when I'm going through tough times, I want to look back and sort of be able to live in that moment from afar. But
I like that. Yeah, being able to reminisce on the good times.
yeah. That being said, I think it's dangerous to become obsessed with photography, and especially if you're fishing, because you lose the point of why you're there. And that's something I had to tell myself. One of the last trips I went on down in Twizel, I went there with no hope of catching anything, or really, it was just the hope that I'd sort of feel normal again. And yeah, from that point on, I think I've definitely enjoyed fishing even more, and used it as a tool to slowly get better, because yeah, I'm just more grateful for every opportunity that I have to be one with nature and meet great people along the way, and become a better person over time.
Right, the last question that I have for you, what advice would you give to someone going through a difficult time?
Someone that's going through a difficult time, I'd say just don't give up hope. Like, hope's a big factor, and surround yourself with people that you know care. Like, not people that you think might, like people from day one that will check up on you every week and make sure you're all right. And they don't have to say much, just like, hey mate, you're all right. Like, those are the people that you want to surround yourself with, that you know have got your back no matter what. And that's what I've got with my friends at the moment, and my partner. I've got all the support, so I'm able to, through my whole life, I'm able to actually take some of the weight off my shoulders. And yeah, so I suppose for people going through a tough time, like hang in there. Things will get better. Yeah.
Nice, bro. Do you have any last message for those listening?
I suppose just follow your dream. Like, do what makes you happy. Yeah.
Cool, bro. Thank you so much for your time to be able to talk about some of the struggles that you've experienced in your life so far and how fishing helps you through that. And I wish you all the best on your journey with your counsellor and your metamorphosis process, brother.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That was great.